Hey there everybody, Pop on Top here. Welcome back to some more Fallout 4 mods. In today's mod, we got the weapon mod currently equipped in my character here, hands here. This is Wasteland Melodies Heavy Machine Gun. It's a big boy. It's a big ass machine gun. So, it shoots by default 50 caliber ammunition, fully automatic rate of fire. It sounds a big chunky boy. Right? I think you guys get a pretty good idea off of that. So you may notice here as well, there's no spare ammo and it has a 999 round capacity. Technically it's more than that because it's never ending. And every version of this weapon that I've seen is never ending. And I think there's a good reason for that. So if I go here to Sheffield, who I've assigned to sell me weapons and stuff, you have to go here because I have to find it a never ending. Never ending, never ending. Every weapon vendor I've found, because that's how you find the weapon, it is added to the leveled list. So you find it at weapon vendors and stuff. Is always a never-ending version. The reason for that is it doesn't actually have a reload animation that works at all. Because what I could do this, I could trick this, right? I can go to my cheap terminal portable here. I can go to ammo, and get myself 50 caliber ammunition, which means some isn't loaded, right? There's 999 in the spare capacity. So if I hit the reload button here, that's what the reload looks like. Obviously not a reload at all, right? So all these weapons have to be never ending. They don't count as legendaries. The game doesn't treat them as legendaries, but they function as never ending weapons because there's no good reload animation. I believe that's like a regular base game assault rifle animation. It looks very similar to something like that, right? So obviously the weapon does look good though. I do want to mention off rip that this weapon does look nice, right? Looks like a big heavy machine gun, right? It has nice texture quality to it, big 50 cal thing on the side. I don't, what is that, like a box mag? It's a box mag. Is that how you would refer to that? Box magazine? Just a big box on the side, loaded rounds, big old heavy shoulder stock and all that stuff. Obviously we could show the weapon off here a little bit in the third person. Not quite as much on my shoulders as you'd want it to be maybe, but it does sit there, it does shoot, it does function correctly. We'll obviously get more into the combat testing of stuff later, but never ending, which is a big, it's a big positive for it. It makes the weapon better, that's for sure. You never reload it, but it is because the reload is broken, and you're not really using that carry handle there. Obviously, you can see there's a nice little, it's a nicely designed looking carry handle and stuff, but you're not using it at all. We'll see what kind of customization we can do with the weapon, though. This is just like base, or whatever version I bought base anyway, right? So we can see what we do here. Obviously, because I'm a high-level character, I got advanced receiver. We can also put advanced armor piercing receiver on there. And the interesting thing about this is that these require the commando perk as well as the gun nut perk. That's interesting. But also that the armor piercing, all it does is it gives you 10 less range, but you keep the damage. Most armor piercing receivers on most weapons, including modern weapons, seemingly make you sacrifice some damage for the ability to do more damage to tankier things. Essentially, that's how that's going to work because, the armor penetration. But this one, you can have armor penetration and that full maximum 156 damage, which is a lot. This is gonna be a chunky boy. We have a big aircraft barrel on here. We can make it a shorter barrel if you want to, handicap your range a little bit. But it does, I imagine, make the weapon a lot lighter because currently with the aircraft barrel, we're sitting at 59 pounds. I mean, I probably makes sense, I guess. Like that this gun weighs that much, right? It's just a massive gun, and then you can heavy barrel it and make it even heavier and longer range. So let's put the short barrel on there, I guess, and then the light grip. That's all we have our options. Large magazine. I mean, unlimited ammo capacity. It's even listed on there in the large magazine because that clearly doesn't work, and you can't craft anything else. We have glowing leaf sights, aircraft sights, standard sights. Okay, so wider field of view, faster aiming. So we'll try that, and then no muzzles. That's it. This is a pretty basic weapon. I was expecting almost more from this. This is the aircraft sights. It says faster aim down sight. I mean, I guess so. It feels pretty quick. I mean, wider field of view is definitely true. Like, it doesn't zoom as much to go in your sights and stuff, right? So you can definitely see from further away. The short barrel's range is going to be a problem, I think, in VATS at least, for sure. Because look, I mean, our range and accuracy stats in combination are making VATS target at, like, a decent range. But I mean, obviously you can just manually fire too. I mean, the recoil is quite rough, though. We can start here. It's a big 50 cal machine gun. This shit's gonna go up. And especially with the unlimited capacity, I'm trying to talk about over that. You're gonna eventually work your way up. Things should die well before that, though, right? So let's see if we put the heavy barrel on, which is obviously making the weapon extremely heavy as well, right? Extremely heavy. Where's my barrels at here? You can't suppress the weapon. You can't do anything like that. It doesn't do anything crazy like that. Your light grip is the only grip that you get here, right? You can put the big heavy barrel on. We get 74 accuracy on 192 range, which is not crazy amount, but it is, it should be good where we should be able to hit some shots in here. See, obviously we got 95s across the board now. That's a huge difference. That short barrel will betray you in VATS. Less so if you're planning on manually shooting the weapon, right? And especially because you lose hip fire accuracy on this, like if you want to like run and spray and pray. But I mean, I can get some shots out of that range. Obviously, you'd want to aim down sight, and obviously closer to the VATS and stuff, or you could use third-person shooting and then get that perfect dot accuracy. It's a big 50 cal machine gun though. It is cool. It is a cool weapon. It does look quite nice. Like I said, texture quality here looks good. I wish you could carry the carry handle. I wish it had a reload animation that functioned, that worked, and did anything at all. Had some customization more to it. Wish it was not so extremely heavy. Because if we think about this, I mean, we're in comparison to other weapons in the game, right? So this is a 64-pound weapon. If I was talking about like a big heavy shotgun, 20 pounds, right? Like, you know, there's certain things that this missile launcher is 12 pounds. This is a 12-pound. It's a modern missile launcher, but it's a 12-pound missile launcher. This is a 64-pound heavy barrel, obviously with the biggest, heaviest barrel, but the biggest, heaviest barrel on that thing. That's crazy, right? Like, I'm just trying to, like, draw some comparisons here. Radium rifle, 11 pounds. You know, you get, like, the heaviest version of an assault rifle. You're talking, like, 20 pounds. It's like 3 assault rifles put together. In something like survival mode, you're never going to be able to carry this weapon, right? Like, it's just way too heavy, I think. Even, I mean, I guess it's supposed to be justifiably so, and I'm sure it's based off of some realistic figures, and someone's going to argue in the comment section down below that this weapon weighs this much in real life, so it should weigh this much in the game. The thing about video games, people, is that they're not real life, and they don't have to follow the same rules and restrictions. But I'm excited to test it out, because I think it is going to be fun to kind of spray and pray. But even if you try to make it light, like I showed off here, right, even with the shortest barrel on there, which does hamper your range and accuracy quite a bit, you're still talking 57 pounds. I mean, I guess you can make it lighter. The receiver really makes a huge difference here, I guess, in terms of weight. And I'm not sure if that makes a lot of sense. I don't know. Like, I'm not a super duper gun nerd or whatever, but I do not know how we go from 57 pounds from having a receiver that's advanced to 35.5 on a default receiver. We also gain some range on the standard receiver. Armor piercing, we lose range, so you could gain some of that range back and gain some of that weight. Armor piercing receiver, which also doesn't make any sense, but let's ignore that, right? Like, if we're talking about realism here, your receiver would not make your rounds armor piercing. You would have to have armor piercing rounds, right? But obviously that's kind of how Fallout works, right? You change the rounds based off of receiver sometimes. A lot of modded weapons like to separate the two, and I think that this one would benefit from that as well, right? Having separate ammunition types versus receiver types, right? Because maybe I would go with the standard receiver. 90 damage is still plenty, and the weapon becomes significantly lighter. Or even an armor piercing default receiver, still keep that 90 damage. I mean, obviously you lose some range, but at 37.5 pounds, it becomes a much more manageable weapon. And I mean, obviously it's not going to have very good range stat or accuracy stat at any kind of decent range. We're still sitting at 39 here. I mean, that's not going to hit, right? That's all missed, right? It's just not working. It even wants me to target Sheffield. Obviously, you can combine it with some things. As you see here, concentrated fire perk, I could get burst to get better as I get more shots in there on him. And it does take, don't shoot dog me. Yeah, don't shoot dog me. Don't do that. It does take a decent amount. The short barrel maybe makes it work. I mean, you really just got to put the heavy barrel on there, though, right? And then you want to maximize damage, but you're like literally doubling weight. That's a lot. That's a lot for a weapon, I think, right? I want to do most damage, and I want to be able to hit things at any kind of decent range. And you're like 64 pounds. It's a lot of weight. That's all I'm saying on that. We're going to go test the weapon out in some combat. I think it's interesting that it makes like a reload noise. I mean, we'll test it out in first person and third person. We'll do some VAT shooting, obviously because I put the big heavy barrel on there. And we'll see how it does. I'm sure it's going to be really good at combat. I'm not actually that concerned about its combat effectiveness. I'm just concerned a little bit by its lack of attachment variety, the massive amount of weight to it, and how receivers just exponentially increase that to a point where I don't know if y'all carrying around a 67.5 pound weapon. This is a lot of space in your inventory, even in not survival mode. But I'll see you guys when we get to some combat, and we'll give it a good old test there. Alright everybody, Zombies Arena Arcade mode as we do. We'll go to someplace different. We went to Super Duper Mart last time, so let's go USA. I've set station to live here. We'll spawn in some nasty shit, I guess super mutants or something, right? Something that's going to be actually tough. Not that anything, I don't think, I picked gunners anyway. I accidentally missed it. These things happen. We'll kill the gunners. It doesn't really make too much difference. Footstep noises are real good, though. They're right up there on that balcony. I mean, obviously, because we can't suppress the weapon, there's not really that much point in sneaking, is there, right? It's very much... I mean, things are going to die. Like, it doesn't matter if I spawn in super mutants or gunners or ghouls or raiders or if you're fighting a desktop or anything. This all kind of just going to die to this weapon. And as you see here, even with the heavy barrel with the least accurate hip fire, still tearing through just fine. Where did this man go? Hello, man? Are you over here? I just went through here. But, I mean, just like, and it's never ending, never reload. For the reason that it's covering up the fact that it doesn't have reload animation. But yeah, it's like one shot. I mean, obviously, it's full auto. And I believe every receiver here is full auto, so you're always finding that burst. One hip fire, or one VATS burst, and you get really good VATS accuracy with the heavy barrel. It becomes a highly effective weapon. We're going to do some third-person shooting on this next wave, just for those people out there that need that. It is a highly functional, very good, powerful weapon. But it has a cost, right? Like, you're going to be very slow while carrying it, right? Because, you know, the carry weight of your weapons does affect movement speed and stuff like that. And, I mean, it does make sense. This is not a machine gun that's supposed to be carried around actually in real life. And, you know, just kind of hit fired willy-nilly. You're not supposed to be able to, you couldn't possibly actually sprint in real life. Could you imagine carrying 60 pounds in two hands and then running with it? I mean, I could put two 30-pound dumbbells in each hand, and I would have a tough time running with them, obviously. And that's got carry handles and stuff. This is a gun, right? And then obviously the recoil of this thing would be massive. And obviously, you know, like I said, you could argue some realism things, but I don't know why I stopped like moving, like I got like stuck on something there. But you could argue realism's sake, but realism would also imply like there would be a reload animation. I don't know. I'm not like frustrated with this weapon or anything. I think it is a good weapon. It's very powerful. It works, right? It works in first person. It works in third person. It is powerful. It has a nice crunchy sound to it, but it lacks a little bit in terms of customization. It's very fucking heavy, which you could argue maybe it should be. And then it just doesn't have a reload animation because it's just right? But it is. I mean, you could put some damage downrange here, right? You could definitely do those things. Let's do the quick death claw test while we're here. I mean, obviously the death claw is just gonna get annihilated, but like, so we'll just throw. I'm making sure I have the spawn NPC grenade on. Let's death claw go. Death claw is dead, right? It's a very powerful weapon. Never have to reload the thing. Extremely powerful. You could run around the whole game with this. The problem is it's not running very quick, I'll tell you that much, right? You are definitely not running around with this weapon because it's heavy. It's humongous. I do like that the armor piercing does not add or decrease your damage like most mods do. And there's some features to like. I do like the look of the weapon. I like that it's a big, heavy machine gun, right? And obviously there's something you probably should be carrying around in power armor and stuff like that. And then you maybe have the extra carry capacity to carry the weapon when you're using it with power armor and stuff. But then again, like... I mean, there's other things. I think there's other things you can use, right? Like, obviously, it is a cool gun, though. And I definitely think for some of y'all out there, it's going to be worth checking out. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Are you going to check out Wasteland Melody's heavy machine gun for yourselves? Or is you going to skip it because it's too heavy or whatever your reason? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. If you do want to check out the mod for yourselves, though, make sure to check out the top link in the description. That we link there to the Bethesda.net page and the Nexus mod page so you can download this mod for yourselves there. If you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like writing down below and also subscribe if you haven't already. That way you can check out more videos from me. I do upload follow for mods a couple times a week. You can also ring that bell, or I don't know. I don't ring the bell, so I don't really know what I'm talking about. But the other YouTubers say it, so I'm gonna tell you to do it too, I guess. But yeah, pretty much other than that though, you guys have a good rest of your day, whatever it may be, and I will see you in the next episode.